Hi, my name is Trine C Jensen, and I'm a voice director for video games and motion capture. I direct quite a bit of dubbing as well, and I teach voiceover for games, motion capture, and performance capture for games and animation. And I can be found at TrineCJensen.com and on social media under my name as well, Trine C Jensen.
The whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them and still amount to something. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and this is episode 1077. That is right, 1077 of the one and only Keith Andrew Network, available on all social medias. As you heard from the recommendation, we have a great guest. First question I want to ask you is, Tara, already answer a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Keith. I am a voice director, performance director for video games, and also do some motion capture. And I teach both voiceover for video games and performance capture here in Los Angeles, where I live. And I also teach in Europe, both in Denmark and in Germany at the National Drama School, National Film School type of places.
Oh, that's wonderful. Actually,
and then I cook Jack as well.
So actually, I'm going to ask you some of the icebreaker questions. First one I want to ask you is, what did you major in when you were in college?
I majored in theater. So I have a degree in theater with a focus on acting.
Oh, nice. So it's great to have a passion and do what you do.
Yes. There was a number of years where I did other things, but I came back to it about 10 years ago and have been working in voiceover since about 2015-16.
Well, the next question I want to ask you is, who influenced you to become a voiceover? We'll get into voice.
I have a friend who has a recording studio in London, and he's always had a dream of opening up a studio here in Los Angeles. And when he did, he asked me if I would run the studio for him. So that's how I came back into it.
Oh, that's really cool. I actually, as you know, over 1,077 episodes, I have interviewed actors, actresses, models, CEOs, people in the industry, upcoming people in the industry. And that's something I do want to talk about in a little bit. But the next one I want to ask you is, you're going to enjoy this one. Were you a study nerd or party animal when you were in college?
I was a study nerd and a little tiny bit of a party animal, but not much. I came to college a little bit older than everybody else because I had been out working and traveling for 3 years, between when I finished high school and when I went to college. So by the time I came to college, I was really focused.
Oh, absolutely. So then hashtag absolutely. So the next one I want to ask you, as being a voice director, what attracted you? We'll go back if I ask this again, but I gotta ask it a different way. What attracted you to begin your career just as a voice director? Was it a movie that you saw? Was it a video game that influenced you?
I think two things. I think on the acting side, I have always loved working with actors. I just think that they are spectacular, fabulous, talented people, and I am in awe of what they do. So I have always enjoyed that part. And there's something really special about the voiceover community in that all of the stresses of having to be on camera and look a certain way and all of that stuff is kind of not an issue at all with voiceover. And so the community has a very different feel than the on-camera community. And I find that it is an extremely supportive and talented community that it's just an absolute joy to be a part of. And then I had the fortune of working on Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was just blown away by how beautiful the game is, and also by the actual caliber of the storytelling, right? Like video games is not what they used to be with little Pac-Man moving across the screen, right? They are these big, beautiful cinematic experiences with incredible characters and storytelling. And I just thought it was such a thrill to be able to be a part of that.
No, I agree. And who were some of your favorite people that you actually worked with? Have you worked with big names or being a voice director?
Well, they're big names in the voiceover industry. The person that plays the lead in Horizon Zero Dawn, she plays Aloy, is the name of the character, and the actress's name is Ashley Birch. And so it was an absolute joy to work with her. And the guy that played Silence in the game as well, I cannot think of his name right now, but he actually just died this fall, which was very, very sad. He also played a role on Vice, the TV show.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. As you mentioned Ashley Birch, that name rings a bell. I think I might have interviewed her, but it's been a long time, so that name does sound really familiar.
You may have. She's quite lovely. She does a lot of anime voices as well and a lot of different things. Very, very talented woman.
As you are a voice director, what are some of the best advice you have given to people and have received?
I think my best advice to actors, especially in an audition situation, is to really go for it and make strong choices and to be more concerned with what they can bring to us rather than what they think we might want. There's a different level of authenticity when they just really express themselves. And some of the best that I have received as a director is, there's so many different things. I think that it's actually the same thing that I received in consulting, is that you have to meet the person where they're at. And so when the actor comes in and they give you something, you have to receive that and then build upon that and not necessarily send them in a completely different direction, right? So you're constantly building on that which they're bringing. And that is both in a casting situation and in a directing situation. And depending on how much time pressure there is, you have, time to work with them or not. That depends a little bit on the type of recording.
Absolutely. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, COVID midway through it, has the coronavirus helped you see life through a different point of view? Like, if you had to compare yourself now to pre-COVID, do you see things in a different point of view?
I'm not sure that I see them differently, but I see a lot of differences in the industry, right? There's a lot more self-tapes in terms of audition submissions, right? A lot less live auditions. There's a lot more recording from home. All the actors that have home studios, home booths. And I see that we're now beginning to come back into the studio to do live things, but there's a lot of stuff that's still online. But I also notice a real hunger for especially live classes and being with other people, because we've all been so isolated in our homes for so long that there's a real hunger to actually be with people physically in a room and connect.
No, you're right. And a lot of people are hypocrites because a lot of people are like, I wish I can stay home and work from home and don't have to do anything. Things will be delivered for you. And then we were on lockdown, and then you pretty much got what you wanted. And then some people are like, I want to go back to work. Some people don't want to leave their house. Some form of depression. But now it's the complete opposite, because now, I don't know, there's a haircut place I go to. She's struggling to get people. People in supermarkets, they can't get people to work. So it's kind of like the coronavirus has kind of crippled people mentally, saying, you were home all this time, now you have to go back out and socialize again, and it's kind of like has that mental effect saying, you should, but you don't want to.
Yeah, I think for me personally, the combination of being able to do quite a bit of stuff from home and then also going into the world and getting together with people physically is sort of the best of both worlds. I get stir crazy when I'm only working from home. And because I live in Los Angeles and traffic is insane here, it can take, an hour and a half to get a distance that's not very far away. Obviously, from that perspective, it's really wonderful to not have to get in your car and to be able to do the work from home, and you save a lot of time. So I think a bit of both is the best answer for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the next question.
There's a lot of businesses that have struggled because people don't go out as much.
Absolutely. Next question I want to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish in your career? Well, first off, how can our fans and listeners follow you? Are you on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram?
I am on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Threads and LinkedIn. I am not on TikTok, and I am by my name. And if I am able to just change my name on the screen, then I will. That is how you can find me there. I have a middle initial of a C because Trine Jensen is a very common name in Denmark, which is where I'm from. So if you just look up Trine Jensen, you'll see like 50 different ones or more. But if you put in Trine C Jensen, then hopefully it's just me or maybe a few others, but hopefully you can recognize me by my picture then. It's the same handle on everything, Trine C Jensen.
Absolutely. That's the same thing for me, except for Twitter. Because Twitter gives you a certain number, a limit. So on Twitter, I'm called KeithAndrewNetWork. But everywhere else, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, is KeithAndrewNetWork. I really want to get that Twitter thing fixed, but I'm not holding my breath on it. But the reason
and my website is also my name. So you can always find me on my website at trinejensen.com.
So the next part of the question I want to ask you is, with every website that we mentioned, or haven't mentioned for that matter, would you recommend any websites for people who want to follow in your footsteps?
I think there are a number of different schools at this point that offer really wonderful stuff. One of them is Skills Hub, and there are links to Skills Hub on my website because I am one of the coaches on Skills Hub, and I also teach classes there. Skills Hub was started by Jennifer Hale, and she's sort of a legend in the voiceover industry as an actor. And she has started it, and it is just absolutely filled with good coaches, good classes, lots of resources, and also a bunch of programs for how to sort of map out your career if you would like to get into voiceover. And I think it's really, really good stuff.
You bring up
very reasonably priced.
You bring up a good point. Is there anything for like talk show hosts like myself?
I don't know. It's more focused on, voices in video games, voices in animation, trailers, narration, books. Like sort of like your more standard voiceover work. I would say for a talk host, maybe just a regular acting class would be a good place to start, just to get more aware of how you come across and how you present yourself and stuff like that.
Well, actually, you brought up a good point. I want to put you in the driver's seat. I usually say this for off the air, but we're going to have fun with this. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? Well, when you first got that email, were you kind of skeptical about it? Were you hesitant? What made you say yes?
I looked you up and I did a little research, and I, looked at who had been on your show and what the shows looked like and watched some of the videos that you had sent me. And I decided that when I had time to do it, I would. And right now worked out to be a good time because it's sort of like gearing down for the holidays and I leave town next week. So.
No, I agree. And what made you say yes? I know you said you mentioned it was a good time, but let me rephrase that.
What made me say yes is that I think what you're doing is a wonderful thing. I think it's a really good thing to stand out as neuroatypical. I'm allowed to call you that, right?
Yeah, you call me whatever.
And to be an example for the fact that you can do all kinds of things, even though you may not have thought that you were able to, right? And that you just keep doing it. And I think that's a wonderful example, and I want to support that.
No, I agree. You know, I fall under the spectrum of I could pass, you know, not a compliment. I could pass for being retarded because I read and learn at a 5th grade level to a high school level. I'm like you, only I learn at a slower pace. And what I mean by that, unless I had a $5 every time I said this. I usually say $1, but 5 is a solid number. So you give somebody a script. They're like, okay, so this is what you're going to do. For me, can you go over it? Can you repeat it? Can you break it down? Can you give me an example? If there's like a multiple choice question, can you give me an example of, I'm not asking you to give me the answers, obviously, but that would be nice. But I'm asking you, could you break it down and tell me what is the difference between A and B? Even though A and B may sound the same and there's no wrong answers, but if you can break it down so I can understand it more, then it helps me process it. A lot of people like say, if you can't figure it out, you're never going to. So reason I bring that up is I want to talk to you about disabilities. Besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities and people who want to work with you? Would you be open to that?
Would I be open to that?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. In my coaching and in my teaching work, I've taught a few classes for a company in Canada that's called On the Mic Training, and they offer a lot of stuff both online and then also live. And because they are, I think, the only program in the world that's actually government supported in Canada, they get a lot of students with various different types of learning disabilities in their classes. And they have developed a curriculum, which obviously I, as a provider, when I did teach for them, delivered. And I think they are very good at offering the curriculum in with different learning styles in mind. So some is very visually oriented, some is very audio oriented, and some is more doing, like the actual doing of it through repetition, right? So that you're essentially addressing audio learners, visual learners, and kinesthetic learners. And I think that makes it much easier for people with various different kinds of learning disability to take their courses and also to really excel in the field of voiceover. And a fun fact is that a lot of people in the VO industry are both dyslexic and have ADHD. One or the other or both. There's a lot of that in the industry, and I don't know why that is, but I know that it is so, and I just find that very interesting.
And the last two questions I want to talk to you about is you created your own company. What can you tell our viewers about it?
You know, I've always had my own company. What I did in the company has changed over the years, but I've pretty much been self-employed for over 20 years. And it was never really my goal. It just kind of happened. I was a single mother and needed to support my daughter, and nobody was hiring at the rates that I wanted to make because I wanted to work only a small amount of hours, making a lot of money so that I could have a lot of free time to be with my kid. And so I just sort of had to get creative about what I could do.
Oh, understandable. You know, now with the holidays coming up, is there anything that you're looking forward to the holidays? Anything in the new year that you have plans for?
Yes, I am going to celebrate Christmas here with my daughter. And then I leave to go to Copenhagen, which is where I'm from. And I'm going to spend some time with my family there over the new year. And then the first week in January, I'm going to be teaching in Copenhagen at a school called Copenhagen Acting School. and then I'll come back here on the 12th of January.
No, absolutely. So my other question I want to ask you is actually what's the last 9 minutes left? I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there anything you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to promote? Anything you want to ask me? I have no cards up my sleeve.
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm available on Skills Hub as a coach for anybody who wants to work with me for acting or presenting, speaking, any of that stuff. I teach a lot of classes both online via Skills Hub and in local studios here in Los Angeles for anybody who's here. And then I teach in Europe, and I will be teaching in January and again in April there. And in the meantime, I'll be here in LA both for February, March, and most of April.
Actually, I have so many questions, but let me ask you, is there an option for like Skills Hub to open up to like different things? Like people want to be professional wrestlers. Is there, I know that sounds stupid, but is there like an option of someone sits down and tells you the do's and don'ts, like I was mentioning about the talk show? Because a lot of people who are actors, do voiceovers, could have possibilities of doing what I'm doing and presentations. Do you think any of those could be a class, possibly?
I know that currently everything they offer is focused on voiceover and the voiceover industry. But I do know that there are a number of the different voiceover actors that have their own podcasts and things like that.
Hey, never say never, right?
That's right.
The next question, actually, you mentioned this in the beginning. I want to go back to the reason I mentioned presentations, actually, I apologize, presentations, and I want your honest opinion. How would you rate my presentation and my talk show for over the 10? Obviously, it's gotten a lot better over 10 and a half years, but everything that you've seen recently, how would you rate my presentation?
I think you're doing amazing. And I think you're getting more and more comfortable with the questions that you're asking and much more fluent in the way that you interact with your guests. I think you do great. I think you do very nice work.
No, I appreciate that. So to go back to the last three questions I want to ask you answered the first one. What made you say yes? But how do you feel right now, and would you recommend it to other people?
How do I feel right now? I feel good. And would I recommend your show to other people? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing about my show is you're making a new friend, supporting a good cause, and you're networking. So it's a one after another. Good message, make a new friend, and networking. But actually, I do have a list of questions real fast I want to ask you. I wrote these up a while ago called Questions of the Wise. Don't ask me why I called them Questions of the Wise. But the first one is, what was the last time you did something new?
When was the last time I did something new?
Yes.
Just this past weekend.
Oh, what did he do?
I was in an acting and directing workshop with a very well-known director, Tom Keegan, and some of the exercises that he had us do were things that I have not done before.
Well, this one's pretty interesting. What was the one, a lot of people say this, but they end up doing it, and I actually fall under this category. What's the one thing you said you would never do, but you end up doing anyway?
I think there's a lot of those. Oh gosh, I'm not sure. I can't think of any right now. Let me think about that.
Well, this one's pretty interesting. What's the difference between living and existing?
Between what?
Living and existing.
Between living and existing?
Yes.
To me, living is more related to thriving, as in with joy and with some investment. into it, and existing would be more like just surviving, just getting by. So one is sort of like low level, just crawling by, and the other one is like taking life by the horns and just really getting in there and getting dirty.
No, I agree with you. Now, next one is, if you could go back in time and tell, a lot of people joke about this, but well, I'd like to hear what you think. If you could go back in time and tell your younger self something, what would it be? Besides
saying, lighten up.
Oh, what was it?
To lighten up. Just to lighten up.
For me, I would say start my talk show a lot sooner and save every penny. I also keep my mouth shut too, because I talk too much.
Got it.
And then the fifth one I want to ask you is, obviously, I'm living the dream. Hopefully this will expand. You're living the dream. Are you following your dreams and passions?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I continue to lean into them. And whenever something doesn't work out, I grieve a little bit, and then I pick myself up and I do it again.
I do have to ask, are you Irish or Scottish?
No, I'm Danish.
I'm
from Denmark.
I do like your accent. That's why I asked.
I'm from Denmark.
And that, I heard of Denmark, well, that's in, I believe, Germany, right?
No, it's a country. Denmark is a country. It's north of Germany and to the east of England. It's part of Scandinavia. And the city that I'm from is Copenhagen, which is the capital of Denmark.
I am so horrible at demographics. But I do like the accent, though.
Thank you.
But with that being said, wrapping up, do you have any Christmas wishes that you would want to say to our audience?
I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. And if you are one of those people that hates the holidays because it brings up all of that family stuff that can be really difficult, then I hope that you make it through in one piece.
Absolutely.
And I wish everybody a fabulous 2024.
And on behalf of the Keith Andrew Network, we want to wish you a happy holidays. Stay tuned. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're available on all social medias. And our goal is to reach 2,000 on all social medias. If you're watching on YouTube, our goal is to reach 2,000 viewers. Make sure to comment on current interviews, past interviews, and that's all really to make sense. You're watching, you're supporting, you're enjoying it, you're having fun. But until we meet again, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2. So until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.